up, you guys? The Curious Owl here, and today I will be sharing with you guys my FeelGoodathon Readathon TBR. So I wasn't originally going to do this whole readathon in the first couple weeks of June because I also have the House Cupathon going on in the month of June, but I ended up actually getting a very special package from one of the creators of the readathon, Jess, and she asked if I wanted to maybe do a buddy read with it, and because that was one of the prompts for the FeelGoodathon, I thought it would be fun to maybe get involved with that readathon and actually do something with it, because there's a lot of really good things I think going with the readathon itself. But I will leave her announcement video for it down in the description for you guys, because I think it's going to be such a fun time, and I'm really happy that there's people out there that are wanting to really do a readathon that's based really in just making yourselves feel better, considering that things have kind of gone down the toilet this year. So it's really nice to see some booktubers actually wanting to encourage making yourself feel better, whether that's by just reading or by doing certain activities over the course of the 2 weeks of the readathon to really just give yourself time to really take care of yourself. So if you watch my House Cupathon TBR, you will see that pretty much all of these books that are on here, with the exception of one book, are going to be the same as my House Cupathon TBR, and that's because I found that a lot of these books that were on my House Cupathon TBR worked very well when it came to the FeelGoodathon. So I know it's technically repeats, but I would rather kill two birds with one stone than have 50 million books to read over the course of a month. And especially since the FeelGoodathon takes place in the first 2 weeks of the month of June, when the House Cupathon takes the course of the entire month, it just made more sense to me to pick books that I think were going to work well for both. So the first book I am going to be reading, though, is Museum of Thieves. I can't remember the name of the author for the life of me, but this was my May library lottery pick that I wasn't going to be able to get to more than likely by the end of the month. And this is a middle grade story, so I thought that this would be great for the younger love prompt that is in the readathon, which is to read something really that you think that a younger version of you would love. So like my middle school self, I think would really like this, because I loved, stories about going on journeys in different worlds. Like, I feel like in middle school, I really got into the fantasy genre, probably even in elementary school. So I really think that this would be something I would really enjoy. And then this is also going to be accounting for the new to me author prompt, because I don't believe I've ever read anything by this particular author, but I also can't even remember their name. The next book I'm going to be reading is Thirst, Volume 1 by Christopher Pike. This is an omnibus of the first 3 stories of the Thirst series, and this is going to be for my reread prompt, because this is going to be a series that I will be starting up a reread series for once I finish the Morganville Vampires, because I am on the last book of that series, and I should be able to finish that by the end of May before starting either the House Cupathon or the FeelGoodathon. The next book I'm going to be reading is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. This is for more so the House Cupathon, but it did actually fit a couple prompts with FeelGoodathon, which are to read a short book, because this is actually one of my shorter books that I have, and also to continue a series, because this is the second book in a series, and also to have something with your favorite trope, which personally I'm a fan of the magic school trope. I just really like it for some reason. I always find it to be super fun, and I think that that really started because of the Harry Potter series. The next book I will be reading is Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is to read one of the host favorites books, which I think that this was... I don't remember whose it was, but I'll leave their name down here. I don't remember whose favorite this was off the top of my head, but it was one of the hosts' favorites. And this is also going to be counting for the High Hopes prompt, which is to read a book that you think you're really going to like. And I have some very high hopes with Illuminate, considering how much I really like Jay Kristoff's writing with the Nevernight series. The next book, which is my buddy read prompt with Jess, nevertheless, who is one of the hosts for the FeelGoodathon, is going to be Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Now, this is actually a reread for me. I had gotten a physical copy of this as a gift from Jess, which was amazing. So thank you so much, Jess. I really appreciate that you sent this out to me. And she had asked if I had wanted to buddy read this, because she had not read it herself and had been really interested in it. And I actually had told her on Twitter that I had already read it, but I was looking to reread it again because I was so divisive with the audiobook. I couldn't decide at the time that I had first read it whether I wanted to rate it a 2-star or a 4-star, because of the real nitty-grittiness of the idea of small towns that this book goes into, because I thought that it was, for one, a really good representation of the kinds of things that happen in a small town when especially people that are outside of the predominant race in the community comes in, and how that affects the whole dynamic of the town, and then two, how those people will try to ostracize that person that is outside of their norm. And I really liked a lot of those elements that were played into it, but I also thought at some points it was a little on the extreme side. Like, I couldn't really distinguish if this was going to be something that was, you know, truly going to happen. But having grown up in a small town, seeing some of the kind of nuances that were played into the story made me love it so much more that I gave it in the end a 4-star. But I think that because of the audiobook, I may have gotten a little lost in some places, which made it harder for me to get through the story at times. So I think that by reading the physical book, that might change my thoughts on it. So I'm interested to reread it, and then also buddy read it with Jess, who is one of my favorite YouTubers. And I just feel very honored that she chose me to do a buddy read with. And the last book that I will be reading for the Feel-Goodathon is My Enemy's Cradle by Sarah Young. This was to read for something that you liked a cover of, and I kind of liked the cover of this because I don't know why trains always give me like interesting vibes. And then I had read the synopsis of it, and it was placed in like the World War II Nazi Germany era. And for some reason, I think ever since I listened to the book Thief by Marcus Suzak, I'm like obsessed with reading stories that are in the Nazi Germany time, because I want to see different kinds of stories of people that may have been involved in that time and everything. I don't really know much about what this is, but I liked the cover of it, and then I liked reading the synopsis on the inside flap when I had picked it up at a library book sale. But there you guys go. Those are all the books I will be reading for the Feel-Goodathon. Let me know what you guys are going to be reading down in the comments below if you are participating in that. And I'm really excited because since it is going in the first 2 weeks of the month along with the House Cupathon, and because that a lot of these books are basically ones I'm going to be reading anyway in the month, it's just going to be really fun to see kind of my thoughts on them and kind of just be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone that I didn't think I was going to do with the entire month, because I thought that with the Feel-Goodathon I was going to have to pick a bunch of other books for it, but I didn't end up having to do that, so that's really good. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit the button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys!